This is Car Tracks with Turtle Wax. Your car says a lot about you. So if we asked your car what it would say about you, what would it say?
Listen, you dropped one of those tiny cheeseburgers under the seat like last week, and now we're both dry heaving at the stench. Do us a favor, grab some turtle wax, and let's get to work.
This has been Car Tracks with Turtle Wax. You are how you car.
Popsicles, sprinklers, a cool breeze. Talk about refreshing. You know what else is refreshing this summer? A brand new phone with Verizon. Yep, get a new phone on any plan with Select Phone Trade-in and My Plan. And lock down a low price for 3 years on any plan with My Plan. This is a deal for everyone, whether you're a new or existing customer. Swing by Verizon today for our best phone deals. 3-year price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate only. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
With McValue at McDonald's, you don't just get deals on the drinks. You get deals on McDonald's drinks. So when you're breaking a sweat, embrace the chill without breaking the bank. And when your crew is running on empty, keep your wallet full while refreshing the squad.
Grab a cold drink at a hot price, like a refreshing Coke Zero or sweet tea in any size for only $1.49. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Hello, everyone. I just want to tell you about a podcast I think you'll enjoy. If you're like me, I'm always on the podcast apps looking for something else scary to add to my feed. And this one is called The Most Terrifying Places in America by the Travel Channel. On the podcast, they visit some of the creepiest locations across the United States. They go to a hotel in New England where guests wake up and they're covered in scratches. My personal favourite is the one where there's a church in the middle of the woods and the security guards have to stay there for the night, and it's really, really creepy. There's so many different places on there. Get yourself a nice coffee or tea, pop it on and enjoy. Listen to The Most Terrifying Places in America wherever you get your podcast.
This is Car Tracks with Turtle Wax. Your car says a lot about you. So if we asked your car what it would say about you, what would it say?
Listen, you dropped one of those tiny cheeseburgers under the seat like last week, and now we're both dry heaving at the stench. Do us a favor, grab some turtle wax, and let's get to work.
This has been Car Tracks with Turtle Wax. You are how you car.
Hello, I'm Sarah, and welcome to Day 7 of 14 Days of Summer Fear. I've got 2 spooky summer stories to share today. I'll get straight into them. Are you ready for the first story? Something is in the GSMNP woods near Cherokee. My husband, 23 male, and I, 22-year-old female, have been on our wedding anniversary for over a week now. We have a camper in Cherokee, North Carolina, that we've been staying in. We have an interest in abandoned things, like towns and cemeteries. We decided that we would go visit Connor Cemetery near Couches Creek, off of Newfound Gap Road, which is about 1.9 from the Oconolofty Visitor Centre. When we arrive to a pull-off, close to where the trailhead is supposed to be, we get out and start walking towards the opening in the woods where there is a trail. The trail itself is visible, but you would have to be looking for it. We are walking in, heading towards where the cemetery is supposed to be. I'm in the front, looking down, checking for snakes and holes, and my husband is behind me. We've paused for a second, and he said, "Babe, look at that statue." I start looking around and say where, and he points in the direction. What I was expecting was like an angel statue that you normally see in cemeteries. That is not what this was. I look upwards, further up the trail, and off to the side is what looks to be a 12 to 15 feet tall deer/elk statue. The statue looks like it was either made up of wood or wrapped in leather hide and looked preserved. The problem is that nowhere online had it mentioned this statue or anything of this sort. It starts giving me this uneasy feeling because it had a strange face. It was just a very weird place for something like that to be. My husband then said that he did not like it at all and that we should go. As soon as he said that, we turned around and left as fast as possible. Once we got back to our car, I told him that it did not feel right at all. He agreed with me and said that he saw a deer-like face with no snout, and he thinks that it blinked and its right ear had moved, but not like a normal animal ear, but a full 360 rotation. I told him what I saw was like an elk body with a camel mix with an elk-like face. On the way back to our camper, I started thinking that I should have taken a picture of it, but unfortunately did not think to at the time. Once we were back at the camper, we started researching things and could not find where this was ever listed or even seen before. We decided to go back to a local Native American bookstore that we had gone to previously and speak to the older lady who runs it. We had explained what had happened, and she advised us to speak to the visitor centre in the national park to see if anyone had seen something similar, or if they knew of any native stories of something similar. She also said that sometimes the things choose for you to be the only ones that see it. We thanked the lady and left and went back to our camper. Now I'm here typing this out and thinking, what could it have possibly been all the way out there in the middle of the woods? If you have any info on what this could be, please let me know. We will be going to the visitor centre tomorrow, and most likely we'll be going back into the woods to see if it's still there or not. Edit. I wanted to add on this before we got any comments. We are both from the south, born and raised in small towns. We have both been around deer and the outdoors our whole lives. What we saw was not deformed and was not moving. It did not have CWD. This is quite freaky. I just kind of imagined it as being like a Wendigo type creature, trying to keep still so that they thought it was a statue. And what also came to mind was the pagan creature in the ritual. You know that one when they go hiking and there's that creature in the woods, they sacrifice people to it. That one. That's what I saw. Are you ready for the second story? And this story is from Tiernan. The Banshee in the Bog. Irish folklore is littered with mysterious and terrifying creatures. The kind that sounds so unbelievable, but that people speak of with such conviction that you can't help but wonder if there may be a layer of truth buried in there. Old people in particular still hold a belief of the fairy folk and lore of ancient Ireland. Before she passed away, my grandmother would have sat us down in her cottage and filled its walls with the tales of all kinds of spirits, from silently watchful black hounds to the kelpie, a water horse that would seduce you into riding it before darting into the depths of a lake, or low and galloping into its murky depths. When my parents would collect us, Mum would scowl when she found out about the ghost story session, knowing that neither my brother nor I would be getting much sleep that night. Nevertheless, I cherish these fireplace memories as they take me back to a simpler time when the dark winter evenings would be filled with life in the form of Granny's lilting aged voice. My favourite of these creatures, or least favourite I suppose, given the endless amount of nightmares it implanted into my mind as a child, was the Banshee, a spirit tied to particular families. Legend has it that she appears in different forms, but tends to favour that of either a beautiful but distraught woman, or the hunched, ailing old washerwoman, if it appeared by sight at all. It is even more distinct, you see, by its unearthly cry. Its wails and weeps would fill a room, or would be audible from miles away across the countryside. The person who crosses path with the Banshee or its cry should quickly alert the family, as this is a signal that someone from the family has died or is set to die. Yes, the Banshee is an omen of death. As I grew older, I became cynical to the tales my grandmother had spouted, including that of the Banshee. I moved to the city for university at 18, and in immersing myself with life in the modern world, the ways of country life seemed to evaporate, a small-scale reflection of the increasingly modernised world, I guess. Sad when you think about it, isn't it? That was until one particular summer. My parents had recently downsized to a small cottage deep in the barren Irish West, where the roar of city life was inaudible. I stayed with my parents for the month of July and spent long, languid days roaming the nearby fields and looking out for signs of wildlife, such as the foxes that roamed late at dusk, or the bats that flew low along the lanes, which were laden with sprawling plant life. My story begins, I suppose, in the second week of my stay. I had taken to going for twilight walks, making the most of our northern sun, which can see daylight lasting until close to 11 p.m. I was some miles away from the house, but could sense darkness approaching, and decided to make my way home. Nighttime in that part of the country is utterly dark, and not something you want to find yourself swallowed by. It was as I was walking back when I heard it, the most startling, biting cry. It seemed to fill the world around me, as though echoing against stone walls, even though I was surrounded by open nature. I contrived to describe it by saying that it was on one hand the sound of a woman in sharp pain, but equally that of a grieving mother sobbing at the loss of her child. I was momentarily horrified. In one moment, it seemed that all of my cynicism was laid to rest, and that I should run home without question. What sort of horrific creature was capable of producing a sound like this? However, I then tried to apply logic. After all, can't foxes make the most spine-tingling noises when they're distressed, or even in heat? There had to be a purely natural explanation to this, in spite of how undisputably unnatural it sounded. Whatever it was, I didn't want to stick around to find out. I would run home, I decided, and alert my parents, just in case someone was genuinely in distress or harm. I began to pick up my pace, breaking into a jog, but something in the peripheries of my vision brought me to a sharp and sudden stop. To my left was bogland, an area that I had been warned never to walk in, as it would be all too easy to sink into the wet ground and become stuck, or even suffocated. It was shocking to me. Therefore, in the midst of this bogland, stood a woman, long silvery blonde hair, twisting in the evening breeze. The relative distance and encroaching darkness made it hard to make her out entirely, but she looked to be in her early to mid-20s, my age, and her face was contorted in what looked like either pain or horror. It was from her mouth, I realised, that the bone-chilling screams were emerging. Initially, I was stunned. This was so diverse to anything I had experienced in this part of the world so far, which seemed so devoid of alarm or drama or consequence. But I shook myself then and called out to the woman as loudly as I could. "Hello, what's wrong? Are you stuck?" She seemed to register me, small eyes turning in my direction, but there was no response, aside from the continuous screech which now pounded in my head. "Hello, I'm going to try and get some help. I'll be back as soon as I can." With that, I ripped my eyes from the woman and darted back to the house as quickly as I could. I was around a mile away, but phone signal was limited in that part of the country, and I knew I'd need to get home in order to do something to assist the woman. It would have been a risk to my own life to have walked across the bogland towards her. When I got home, my parents' warm faces quickly dropped to looks of alarm upon registering me. "What is it? You look as if you've seen a ghost." I quickly filled them in on what I'd seen, and they sprung into action, grabbing the phone and alerting the local Garda, our police force. In the meantime, my father and I leapt into the car to make our way back to the spot, whilst my mother waited for the Garda to arrive. By car, we were there within minutes, and I quickly directed my father to where I had seen the incident. I pride myself on my sense of direction, and the lane is fairly straightforward, so I was utterly bemused when I realised that there was no woman in sight, nor sound within earshot bar the standard noises of a country evening. We scanned the area, but still, nothing. When my mother arrived with the constable, he questioned me about where I'd seen the woman, and raised his eyebrow when I said that she was no longer there. There's no way she could have been submerged in that space of time. You said she was standing fully upright when you saw her, right? That's right, she was a bit of a distance away, but it didn't look like her legs were submerged at all. It was the screaming that made me run for help. He nodded. "Okay, son, thank you. Could you very clearly tell me once again exactly what you saw? Try not to miss anything out." I did so, relaying the story to him again, and trying to interpret his facial reactions as I did so. He remained quite neutral, writing my account onto his notepad. When I finished, he paused before speaking slowly. "Right, I'm going to say first that given how few people live around here, I myself can't say that I know anyone fitting that description. I like to think I know each and every one around these parts. However, I'm going to file a report and investigate this further. It might be that she got herself free and walked off again." Here he stopped and bit the end of his pen, looking thoughtful, before continuing with some visible discomfort. "I want to thank you for alerting me about this. I just want to say, though, before I set off, I've heard of cases like this in the past. Figures, women, appearing around the countryside and alarming a passerby with their cry. Again, officially, I'm going to handle this as I'd handle any other case. But I want you to do me a favour. Check in with your family this evening and see how they're doing. It might sound odd, but can you do that for me?" Dad looked perplexed at this and seemed like he was going to ask further questions, but Mum interjected, nodding. "Yes, officer, I think I understand you. We'll do that." With that, we drove home. The darkness of the land around us was impenetrable. Aside from the light of the car's wall beam, it was a moonless night. We didn't need to contact our family members that evening. Well, we got in contact. But what I mean to say is that they reached us first. My mother's brother-in-law had sent her a message when we'd been out. The message wasn't long. It simply read, "Hi Bridget, tried to contact you, but no reply. Please call." When Mum got through, she was distraught to find out that her sister passed away that evening. It had been a sudden medical event that nobody had predicted. Aunt Sarah had been living with her husband and family in the USA for years. We saw her biannually most years, but the death shook us up nevertheless. In the days that followed, we sprang into action, assisting with funeral arrangements in whatever way we could, and booking flights to Boston. I didn't voice it to my parents, not wanting to upset them further, but I couldn't help but consider the incident with the woman in the bog and what the officer had said to us. My logical mind tried its best to protest, but my memory kept tiptoeing back to the stories my grandmother had told me years ago, particularly those of the Banshee. Was it possible that this could have been the explanation? Was the woman in the field trying to alert me, to warn me about the impending death of my aunt? It took 2 years for me to bring this up to my mother. I was once again visiting home, and we were drinking tea in the garden. It was yet another summer evening at twilight, and I was taken back to that night by the bog. I voiced my memories to Mum and asked her if she remembered what the constable had said. She gazed into a teacup, sighed, looked up at me slowly. "Yes, son, I remember. Do you recall me telling him that I thought I might understand?" "Yes, Mum, I do. Your dad was ready to question him. Well, this might sound crazy to you, but I did understand. You see, about 3 years before that, something similar had happened." I took an intake of breath, and she must have seen my eyes widen. "Oh no, I didn't see a woman, if that's what you think. But I did hear a cry from within the walls of our old home on the evening your granny passed away, as though someone was screaming deep inside the house. Of course, the difference is that we were prepared that time. We knew it was only a matter of days or hours. But I did hear the cry. It terrified me at the time. It's part of the reason we sold up and moved to this cottage." I was dumbstruck. When I finally found my voice, I told her I hoped that she hadn't come to hate the new house too, following what I'd seen 2 years before. "Oh no," she responded. "No, I actually think it's helped me deal with the first occasion, believe it or not. You see, I think maybe it's not a bad thing. She was distressed, you say, when you saw her there. The woman in the bog, I mean. Well, perhaps she was just as sad as we were. Perhaps she's just part of the family. I do wonder if anyone has seen or heard her in the past. Your grandmother, well, you remember her stories. I used to grimace when I came home to you and your brother, shuddering on her sofa. I still stand by that." She smiled wistfully at me, and as she said this, I was transported back to the corner of the old sofa. But it could be she knew there was some truth behind what she was saying. Perhaps your grandmother, my mother, had seen our sad friend too. With that, she finished her tea, lifted both cups from the table, and walked to the sink, leaving me filled with thoughts, nostalgia, and an overwhelming sense of closeness to my own family, culture, and land that I hadn't felt before.
Popsicles, sprinklers, a cool breeze. Talk about refreshing. You know what else is refreshing this summer? A brand new phone with Verizon. Yep, get a new phone on any plan with Select Phone Trade-in and My Plan. And lock down a low price for 3 years on any plan with My Plan. This is a deal for everyone, whether you're a new or existing customer. Swing by Verizon today for our best phone deals. 3-year price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate only. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
This is Car Tracks with Turtle Wax. Your car says a lot about you. So if we asked your car what it would say about you, what would it say?
Listen, you dropped one of those tiny cheeseburgers under the seat like last week, and now we're both dry heaving at the stench. Do us a favor, grab some turtle wax, and let's get to work.
This has been Car Tracks with Turtle Wax. You are how you car.
What a great story. A first-hand account of seeing a banshee. I thought it was great. I loved that the grandma would sit them round and tell stories to them. I love it. I try and do that with Willow, but she gets really scared, so I'm not allowed. Maybe when she gets a bit older, because she's only 6. But I want to be that grandma. Telling all the folk tales to my granddaughter. Frightening her, but not too bad. Well, that's it from me today. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll catch you again tomorrow. Take care, everyone.
Popsicles, sprinklers, a cool breeze. Talk about refreshing. You know what else is refreshing this summer? A brand new phone with Verizon. Yep, get a new phone on any plan with Select Phone Trade-in and My Plan. And lock down a low price for 3 years on any plan with My Plan. This is a deal for everyone, whether you're a new or existing customer. Swing by Verizon today for our best phone deals. 3-year price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate only. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
Celebrate 95 years of better appliance shopping at Bray & Scarf's anniversary sale. Going on now. Save big on in-stock refrigerators and best-selling washers and dryers. Plus, get savings on top of savings with stackable rebates on select GE Profile and Cafe packages. With nearly a century of expertise, Bray & Scarf will always get you the best deal on the best new appliances. So hurry to any of Bray & Scarf's convenient locations or shop online at brayandscarf.com, where it doesn't cost more to get more.
With McValue at McDonald's, you don't just get deals on the drinks. You get deals on McDonald's drinks. So when you're breaking a sweat, embrace the chill without breaking the bank. And when your crew is running on empty, keep your wallet full while refreshing the squad.
Grab a cold drink at a hot price, like a refreshing Coke Zero or sweet tea in any size for only $1.49. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.